Well, hey, everybody, we've come to the middle of the week. Hope yours is off to a good start, and you're also looking forward to Sunday, inviting someone to come to worship with you. Remember, pray for an opportunity to invite someone, opportunity to have a gospel conversation, for vision to see the opportunity and the boldness and courage to speak when it's there. Pray for individuals by name every day. Pray for someone by name who doesn't know Jesus. I am looking forward to teaching and preaching this Sunday from the book of Ecclesiastes, continuing this series on the search for meaning. So bring your Bible, bring a guest, be here 8:30, 9:45, or 11 o'clock, and be early. All right, today we are in 1 Samuel chapter 13. 1 Samuel chapter 13, and here we begin to see some of the differences between King Saul and King David, their hearts, and how that shown itself in their decisions and behaviors and so on. Saul was a king who wanted God's hand of favor and blessing. He wanted God's help, but he was impatient, was not always willing to wait on God, was not fully devoted in his heart to the Lord. David had sins in his life, but it wasn't because he refused to wait on God. Back in chapter 10 of 1 Samuel, the prophet Samuel had told King Saul to wait at the location we read about in chapter 13, to wait there for 7 days, and that he, the prophet, would come and lead them in offering sacrifices to God, and God would then tell them what they were to do in their battle with the Philistines. And so we read in verse 8, now he waited 7 days, this is King Saul, according to the appointed time set by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattering from him. He was beginning to lose their support, so to speak. So in verse 9, Saul said, bring to me the burnt offering and the peace offerings. And he, the king, not a priest, not a prophet, he offered the burnt offering. And as soon as he finished offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came. The king went out to greet him. They had a conversation. Samuel told him, the prophet told the king, you've done a horrible, sinful thing, and God is going to tear the kingdom from you. We'd already seen previously that God, because of Saul's sin, was not going to allow his descendants to succeed him on the throne. Now God says, I'm going to take the kingdom even from you and give it to someone else. Now, what's going on here? Samuel had said, wait 7 days and I'll be there. Well, it was the 7th day, and as the day was progressing, Saul was growing impatient. The day was not over. Samuel showed up before the 7th day because the king was offering the offering at the end of the 7th day. And when he finished, Samuel showed up, impatient. So one of the biggest struggles we have in our culture today is impatience. We see it in sports. We see it in business. We see it in relationships. We see it everywhere. And we want God to be like a microwave, get everything done quicker than an oven. We want God to be more like a drive-through restaurant than, a sit down and take your time. And our impatience can have serious consequences. It did for King Saul. Verse 14, but now your kingdom shall not endure. The Lord has sought out for himself a man after his own heart. There's a connection between obedience and blessing, between obedience and God's promises, God's future for Israel, for her king. And you're going to see that really play out over the next few days. And I think it will help you understand Israel's history. So I want to ask a question devotionally. Can one sin have a big impact on our future? Can one sin have a lasting, big impact on a person's future? And the answer? Sometimes, absolutely. Sometimes, yes, it can, and it does. So often you see television programs, and they'll make comments. These are weekly hour-long dramas or whatever, and they'll make comments like, when young people are in college, that's the time for them to experiment, to try different things and have all these experiences and to sow their wild oats. And yet God says you can do something when you're in college that you will have to deal with the consequences of it the rest of your life. There is never a time in our existence as human beings, whether we are teenagers, college students, young adults, middle-aged adults, senior adults, there is never a time in our lives when we can do whatever we want and be free of consequences. And some consequences are significant, life-altering, life-defining, lasting your whole life. And so don't be foolish and think, I can sow my wild oats and wow, it'll be okay, because it may not be. Wasn't for King Saul, and as we'll discover, it wasn't for the Jewish people or the nation of Israel either. It's not for me, it's not for you. Obedience. The Bible over and over, obedience and the hand of God and the blessings of God, the future God has for you, obedience. There's a relationship there. And only a fool will ignore that relationship. That's one of the tragic learnings from King Saul and his lack of patience to wait on God's timing. Patience. Hard thing, but a really important thing. Wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord. I'll see you tomorrow as we look at 1 Samuel chapter 15. So just jump ahead 2 chapters and read it, and you'll be ready. I'll see you then. God bless you, everybody.